Alright, so last time we were talking about how to connect to the database, whereby we created a file called connect.php. That is if you have watched the previous video. Right now, today we are going to create two files. One file will have the contact details, and then with the button, save button, and then we connect it to the database. Okay. So right now, let's go ahead and create that file. I'll click File, and then I'll click Save As. We need to head to local disk C, WAMP. Then we create our folder. We need to give it a unique name. We need to give our folder a unique name. So now what we are going to do, let me see. Let's call it something like saving data. Let me call it saving data. I'll call it something like saving data. Okay. So now you open that. Where is it? Here it is, saving data. And then we need to give it a name. I'll give it the same file name I gave to the previous one. Yeah, most likely I'll do that, but yeah, I'll do that such that you understand the concept. Okay, though you can create your own file name, you can come up with your own file name, but I'll stick to connect.php. So now in this file we are going to just have the contact details. We need to set up our HTML structure. Okay, so I'll simply type HTML, press tab, then maybe the title I may call it saving, PHP saving. Okay, let me call it saving button. We need to add some functionality to the in this area. So now what I will do, I'll come, and then we need to create the form. Okay, just like in the contact details, we have a form with the name, the email, message. So this one I'll say form. Let me try to make this a bit wide. I know, yeah. So I'll say form, press tab. I'll do that. Now we need to form an action. I'll say action, press tab. Now we are going to create another file name. Okay, we shall come back and label that. Then I'll say method. Okay, these ones will have a functionality along the way, so I'll come back to them. So now we need to input. I'll say input. I'll press tab. We have number. This will have our ID. So the name will be ID. Okay, so then we may say something like ID is equal to, you could say something like student ID. Okay, you may say something like student ID. Then we have placeholder. Now for the placeholder, this one, it will help us to have our information within. I'll show you what it does. Normally it displays like just the exact what you have just put within it, but I'll show you what it does. So you come here and you put a break. Okay, then maybe another break. Now I want to just copy this, and then we have a number of that. Press Ctrl C, enter. So here I'll simply type text. Then here as well it will be text again. Ctrl C. Text. This will remain as number because I want it to be age. So this one I'll put here name. Then we need to have an email. And then this will be age. So now the ID will be the name, then the email, then we have the age again. The placeholders, we need to have them as well, though this area is optional, but I would love to have them. This one is optional. So email, and then age again. Anyway, age. So now we need to have the buttons. Save that. Now for the buttons, I'll press. We are still within the form. Maybe we shall have a div here, div, and then I'll try to input tab, type submit, then name, which is save, and then value, which is save. Now for now I'm going to teach you how to use the save button and add functionality to it. Then maybe after the next video, that is when we shall add more buttons, the save, the update, the search, the delete button as well. As per now, I want to just show you how to save. Then along the way, maybe after this video, or it could be after another video, that's when I'll come up with the the update, the search and delete button. For now, let's go with this. So now maybe I'll save that. We need to see how it's looking like. So I'll go back to my localhost. How did we call our folder's name? It is called saving data. Yes, here we are. Now you see what the placeholder does. Normally it just shows you this. It normally puts like a duplicate name of what we have labeled our files. Okay, normally it does that. That's what the placeholder does. Okay, that's what it does. So now what we are going to do, we have our save button here, but you can see it's not working. We need to connect it to the database. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we need to create another file. Now this file, it is going to have we are going to connect it to the database, okay, such that we have it working when we are able to insert the information that we want. That means we need to create a new database. Okay, I want you to understand this concept. So now I'll go to file, save as, and then we go to WAMP, then here, then where is the file called saving data? Here it is. Now we have another file. Oh, sorry, it won't come unless when we create another file. So I'll click new file. Okay, Then I'll just go ahead and click save as. That means we're already within this file. Okay, if you go back behind, you can see saving data. Now we create our file. Let's call it something like process.php. Process.php. You're done with that. We need to write our opening syntax, PHP, and then we close. We close that. So now we need to declare variables for our, such that we connect to the database. So I'll say, now what we did in the previous video, it is similar to what we are going to do right now to connect to the database. The only difference is that here I'm going to define them directly than last time, but the same code can work. I know previously I did the other way around. I said define, I put them into brackets, and then I inserted in the names to represent the names of the database, whatever is belong to the database, localhost, root. But now this time around I'm going to show you that we can have another way how we can do it. So we shall say server. You declare a server, the variable server. Obviously you all know what it is. It is localhost. Then we need to have another one for username. Username is root. Then we have password. Password is nothing. Then we have database. Now for the database, I'm going to come up with a name, because we need to come up with something, your own database name. Let me call it something like, let me call it Sublime. Okay, I think I should call it Sublime. That sounds better to me. Sublime. Okay, now maybe some people may think because it's we are using the Sublime text editor, but let me come up with a weird name. Let me say Bing. Let's say our database name is called Bing. Bing. So now let's go back to phpMyAdmin. We create our database as soon as possible. I think that will do. Yeah, that would be great and better, such that we can connect. Maybe before doing that, let's first put in the line of code and then we go to that. So I'll simply say I'll declare another variable. I'll call this conn. Now for the variable names, you can come up with anything on your own. Okay, so I'll say new MySQL. You open brackets, then I'll say we shall do what we did in the previous video. The only difference is that now, yes, it's the same. We shall copy that variable here, we paste that here. Then I think let me do that again throughout. This one is called username. Then the other one is called password. Yes, and then we have finally we have database. So now we need to write our if statement. So I'll say if, since we have declared this variable, shall say if this variable, okay, put there that dash, it's like a minus, you put the greater than sign there, connect error. Connect error, and then you open curly brackets, then you say die, connection failed. Connection failed. Then I'll say dot this what we have declared in the statement, such that in case whatever I've placed here is false, then it should show an error. Definitely it will show an error because we haven't yet created our database name called Bing, so we are going to get to that to avoid the error. This time round we are going to create it before we get to the error. Then I will say else echo else echo so now I'll say connection successful. Okay, so when you save that, let's head back to our database. Where is it? So we create the new one. It's called Bing. Our database name is called Bing, so create that. Then I'll say collation create. So when you're done with that, we need to have a table name. Let's call it human with how many? Okay, so I think we shall have 4 of them, 4 column names. So I'll say number of columns, there will be 4. There will be 4 based on what we have here. I'm saying ID, name, email, age. So I'll say ID, name, then email, and then age. Now for the ID, we shall leave the data type as integer, and then the name variable character, the email variable character as well. Then this one may say 255. Then now for the figures, you may put what you want. Okay, these ones, they will now automatically generate integer and integer. ID and age, they will automatically generate their own what values, because we are using them as what integers in data type. Now we need to assign a primary key. So I'll say, I'll click that auto increment. Then we click save. So we have our column names are here with the data types. So we need now to insert information here. Okay, so now we head back to our file, and then we say saving data. So we shall create an if statement and say if, open brackets, you say is set. Okay, is set. Now before we go ahead with that, remember I told you that we are going to use this area. So our file name is called process.php. So I'll type here process.php, go to the connect.php file and put that there. If you want it to work successfully or post, then here you type post, and that is all. You save that. Okay, you save that. So that is it. So we head back this side. So shall declare and say $sign. Then we say post. So then what we are going to do, open these brackets here. Then we shall say save. Then we open curly brackets. Then we declare. We need to have what we declared. Did we have it here? Actually, we didn't declare as yet. We need to declare variables. Variable name ID. Then we shall call it equals to $sign post. Then I'll open that. Then you say ID. Close that. So now I'm going to just copy this. You know what I normally do to avoid wasting time. Copy. So I'll paste that 4 times. Then I'll just change this to name. Then this as well will change to name. Then email. Then email here as well. And then age. Then age here as well. Now we need to declare another variable. This time round we may say we declare a variable called query. Okay, these variable names, by the way, I'm just coming up with them. You can come up with your own. So I'll say query. I'll write my query here. I'll say insert into. Now we need to know the table name. There's no guesswork here. Okay, this is a human. The table name is called human. So we shall say human, because we are inserting data in the table name called human. Open brackets, you say ID, then the name, then the email, then the age, so now we shall say something like values. Values. Now whatever we have declared here, we are going to insert in within the values. So now I'll say $ID, put the comma, $, the name, $, the email, then $, the age. Now when we are done with that, for this to work successfully, we need to, I think you have to close the quotes and then close the brackets. So for ID and name, we are not going to place single quotes on them, but we are going to place single quotes on name and email. Why are we doing this? Because it won't insert. Okay, here now it will take this as strings. Here we have specified that this is a string variable character, this is a string email. Now these are integers. For integers, we are not going to place any single quotes on them, such that the database will not identify them as strings. Okay, here we are differentiating in our query here. That's the best explanation I can come up with. Okay, so now we shall declare another variable. Shall say query run is equal to MySQL query open brackets. Now you go back up here, we get this variable name conn. You copy that, paste it here, then you put a comma, we get this query that we have declared. Place that here. You paste, you terminate, then we insert an if statement to confirm whether information is working. Open curly brackets. So I'll say if this query, sorry, I need to inserted it outside the brackets. So open the curly brackets and then you say echo. Now here we are going to use some sort of JavaScript. We are going to include some JavaScript here to display the message for us because it will look nice. So I'll say script, Close that. Then again I'll say script. So I'll type here type is equal to text stroke JavaScript. Then I'll say I type here alert. Shall receive an alert message. Open brackets, what you want to be displayed. You say data saved. Close brackets. Now we need to close the single quotes. We need to have single quotes. We'll do that, and then I'll just then we shall say else. Remember, it's an if statement. Else echo. I want to just copy this. Else echo data not saved. So you save that, and we run our code. So now refresh this. So refreshing that, let's say we want to put 1. Then the name I may say try to make this bigger. I want you people to see. You say Sadat. Okay, you can see I have many names here. You say Sadat Bokoma. It won't hurt. Then email. You can see that. Then the age I may say, anyway, I'm 25. When I click save, it is saying data saved. That is the dialog box that we expected to have. That is our if statement that we have written using JavaScript. So when I click OK, it shall save the data. Okay, maybe I'll get rid of this. It's saying connection successful. Let me get rid of that because now it's no longer needed. I think let me just do this. I no longer need that simply because it's just an if statement. So I want to just highlight this and then copy that out, save. Anyway, yes, that has been saved. So when I refresh, we expect to have something here. When I refresh, yes, you can see we have one Sadat Bokoma at Gmail. Okay, 25. So that is all for today. Next time we shall look at the update, delete, and the search button. Okay, that one I think it will be after either 2 videos from now or immediately after this one. So it will depend.